December 2008. You are sitting in a glass-walled office on the 34th floor of a building that still has your name on it. Outside, the city looks exactly the same as it did a year ago. Same traffic, same gray sky, same people walking to work. But you know something they don't. The number you are looking at right now, the one on your screen, does not exist in the real world. It never did. You grew up believing in numbers. Your father worked at a bank. Your first job out of college was reading spreadsheets 14 hours a day. You understood something early that most people never do. Money is not a thing. It is a story. And if you tell the story well enough, confidently enough, with the right charts and the right language, people will believe it. People want to believe it. By 2003, you were telling the best story on Wall Street. It started with mortgages. Not the boring kind, the kind your parents had. Fixed rates, 30 years, slow and safe. No, you found something better. Adjustable rates. Low payments up front, higher later. And the beautiful part, you didn't have to keep the mortgage. You could sell it, bundle it with 1,000 others, slice it into pieces, give each piece a rating, and sell it to a pension fund in Norway who would never meet the family in Ohio whose house was the underlying asset. You called it financial innovation. You were right, it was innovative. The first time the model worked, you felt something close to awe. Not at yourself, at the elegance of it. Risk disappears when you spread it thin enough. That was the logic. The ratings agencies confirmed it. AAA, the safest possible grade. You slept well. By 2006, everyone was doing it. Every bank. Every firm. The whole system had become a single enormous machine, and you were one of the people who built it. Bonuses were historic. The housing market kept climbing. You bought a second house in Connecticut. You looked at your portfolio and felt, genuinely, like you had figured something out that the previous generation had missed. Then one morning a junior analyst put a report on your desk. The default rates on subprime mortgages in Arizona, Florida, Nevada. The numbers were moving in the wrong direction. You read it. You set it down. You told him to run the model again, with different assumptions. He ran it again. The number did not change. You did not sleep well that night, or the next. Here is what you understood that most people outside your world did not. These products were connected. Every institution, every fund, every insurance contract, they were all woven together through instruments so complex that no single person could map the entire web. When one thread pulled, the whole thing would pull with it. You started making quiet calls. You moved some positions. You hedged where you could. But you did not stop the machine. No one stopped the machine. Because stopping the machine meant admitting out loud to your board, to your investors, to the press, that the story you had been telling for a decade was built on a foundation that was never as solid as the chart suggested. September 2008, Lehman Brothers. Gone in a single weekend. You remember exactly where you were when you heard. You were standing in your kitchen, coffee in hand, and your phone rang. You picked it up. The voice on the other end said the name of the firm, and then said the word you had been dreading for 2 years. Collapsed. You put the phone down. You looked at your coffee. You thought, not about yourself, not yet, but about the number. The real number. What the actual losses would be when they finished counting. It took years to finish counting. 8 million jobs. $5 trillion in household wealth. Families who had done everything right, saved, bought a house, trusted the system, who lost everything, not because they made a bad bet, because the system they trusted was built on bets they never knew were being made with their money. The investigations came, the hearings, the cameras. Senators who barely understood the instruments asked questions in plain English that you could not answer in plain English, because the plain English answer would have required you to say things that were not supposed to be said in that room. You sat at that table and you answered what you could, and that is where this story does not have a clean ending. Because unlike other stories, no single person went to prison for 2008. No individual was led away in handcuffs for building the machine. The machine was legal. The machine was approved. The machine was, by every official measure at the time, operating exactly as designed. And so we sit here, 15 years later, and we ask a different question. Not who broke the law, but who built a system that made the law irrelevant? Who told the story so well that regulators, investors, and ordinary families all believed it at the same time? That question does not have one name attached to it. It has thousands. What does it mean when a system is too complex for any single person to be responsible for? Drop your answer below.